Make me nervous, Rob. Alright, good afternoon everybody. As most of y'all know, my name is Hannah Leonard, and today I'm going to be going over the authenticity of the Bible. The three questions that I'm going to answer in order to accomplish this are... I always forget these questions going on them. Let's see. Okay, there's going to be somebody read one of the questions.
Has the Bible been changed?
Okay, has the Bible been changed or altered over time? And do outside historians recognize the existence of Jesus Christ? This is the second one. And the third one is, does archaeology back the biblical history? The sources, I have to go over them real quick before we get going. I use multiple websites: bethinking.org, everystudent.com, nationalgeographic.com, time.com, cnn.com, answeringgenesis.org, factsandtrends.net, wikipedia.com, biblica.com, equip.org, opendoorusa.org. Those are all of our sources for the information we're going over today. Alright, the Bible. It is the #1 selling book of all time. It has sold over 6 billion copies, and it was written by 40 authors over the course of 1,600 years. It's been translated into 2,800 languages, well over that, and it's in the process of being translated into another 2,200 languages, out of a total, which isn't on there, of 6,900 languages worldwide. Alright, let's see. It's in the homes of every 2 out of 3 non-Christians in the world. So that means that, out of all the people that don't believe in Christ, 2 out of 3 of them own a Bible. Alright. It is the only religious text that actually reads as factual events. No other religious text actually claims to be fact or real. Alright, the first thing I'm going to go over is over here. This is the Codex Sinaiticus. Hard to say. It was originally written in Greek, and it was 340 AD. So about 300 years after Christ's death was when the very first, well, this is the first one we found, Bible was completed. And it was, let's see, that was over 1,600 years ago, and this one was discovered in 1859. The cool thing about this is it's online, so anybody can read it. You might need to know Greek. But you can read it online, and you can confirm that the Bible has not changed over time. It is the same. Alright, let's see. I wanted to mention there are going to be inevitable differences because it has been translated so many times. There's going to be slight little language differences, but the actual context of it is sound. Alright. It's so sound that it's quoted that even many hardened skeptics admit that the Bible has been transmitted over centuries more accurately than any other religious text. Alright, now we're going to go on to proof of Jesus outside of the Bible. Now, what I have printed out for y'all, that is a piece of the Jewish tumult. It's hard to say. But I'm going to read what's written. It would be highlighted for those of you who have colored on there. All right, and what it says is, on the eve of Passover, they hung Jesus the Nazarene, and the herald went out before him for 40 days, saying, Jesus the Nazarene will go out to be stoned for sorcery and misleading and enticing Israel. Anyone who knows anything in his defense must come and declare concerning him. But no one came to his defense, so they hung him on the eve of Passover. Now, this isn't a biased, source here. These are the Jewish historians. What they put in history was that they hung him for sorcery because he was doing magnificent deeds. All right. Then the other quotes that I have there are from Roman historians, Jewish historians, and a Greek satirist, which he's going over history. All right. And they were all approximately 100 years after Christ's death. They wrote about the Christians and how weird they seemed to be to them because they were doing all these weird traditions. And let's see, Lucian of Samosata, he writes, the Christians worship a man to this day, the distinguished personage who introduced their novel rites and was crucified on that account. It was impressed on them by their original lawgiver that they are all brothers from the moment that they are converted and deny the gods of Greece and worship the crucified sage and live after his laws. I thought that was an interesting look at how other people are seeing the early Christians at that time. All right, now this confirms, so far we've confirmed that the Bible has not changed over time. We know that over thousands of years, it hasn't changed. And we've confirmed that Jesus Christ wasn't just a story figure, he was a real historical figure that everybody around the world knew about. his fame speaks for himself, because for centuries now, people have been dying just for their belief in him. And I don't know about you, but I know that I'm not going to die for an imaginary friend. It's just not. All right, this, I didn't get to print out for y'all, but it's actually a map of the persecution going on across the world right now, because there's still Christian persecution in over 60 countries. So people are still dying for their faith in Jesus Christ. All right. The next question we're going to answer is, does archaeology support the findings of the Old Testament? All right. First thing I want to look at is the flood myth, because everybody doubts the flood myth. It's the easiest thing to doubt. But I want you to recognize that, let's see, each of these myths have the same storyline. A deity warns mankind that they're going to flood the earth and tells them to build a boat to escape. Now, this happened in the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Sumerian flood myth, the Hindu mythology, Chinese flood myths, and Plato's Timaeus, which is Greek. And this is just a couple of the lists, but the lists are worldwide. Worldwide myths of the same exact story. All right? Now, I want you to see how that happened right here on the flow chart. Noah, he had 3 sons. And then one of Noah's grandkids, his name is Ashur. That is where they believe that Assyrian gods and goddesses actually came from. All the Mesopotamian gods, all the Babylonian gods, they all have the same story of the flood, and they all came from Noah's grandkids. It's not anything new, it's all biblical history. All right, I've even got a map here which shows, all right, Ham, he came out this way, one of Noah's sons. Japheth, he came out this way, all spreading the myths, or the flood myths, and then Shem came down here. So eventually the whole flood story became worldwide. All right, next we're going to go over cities. Try and go real fast. All right, this is Nineveh. We uncovered Nineveh. Well, actually, Nineveh was never buried. It was like always historically there as the site of Nineveh. In 1960s, the Iraqis actually rebuilt the walls, and for a while they started to, they wanted to live in there. And let's see. It was originally created in 6000 BC, and then by 3000 BC, it became a worship center for Assyrian gods and goddesses. The most common was Ishtar, which most people try to say Easter is named after Ishtar. But let's see. In February of 2015, this year, ISIS actually blew up the walls and the artifacts in there. Getting rid of biblical evidence here. All right. Ur, which if most of y'all might know in the biblical history, Ur was the city that Abraham grew up in, and he was actually rich and wealthy in there. We uncovered Ur in the 1930s, and it dates all the way back to 6500 BC. The first aerial view that we got of Ur is right here, which I think I put on y'all's paper. And I just thought that was really cool because, like this was where Abraham grew up. All right, next city, go over real fast, is Jericho. We uncovered Jericho in 1997. These are all it's completely real. You can go visit these cities, you can visit the sites. It's not just like biblical stories, they're truth. Let's see, we have the Wall of Jericho, which this man is standing by. I know y'all have that one. These are pots that they actually believed crumbled from the wall crumbling down when they marched around the wall and knocked them down. This is the aerial map. Don't really have much to say on Jericho, so. Alright, Sodom and Gomorrah. This one we found in 1973, and they doubted it, but we finally confirmed that it is Sodom and Gomorrah. And we have the location, which is, it's right by the Dead Sea, which we're going to go ahead and go to the map. Alright, I mapped it out for y'all, and let's see. Sodom and Gomorrah is down here in the Dead Sea. This is the Mediterranean Sea, Israel. All right, this is where Jericho is located. Over here is where Ur is located, and over here is where Nineveh is located. All the biblical cities we went over. Now I want to note that there are plenty more biblical cities that they have uncovered. There's at least 15 for sure, and they've got a whole bunch more in the process. All right, and the last section I want to go over are artifacts. Going real fast. Okay, these three things right here, code of Ur Nama, I always want to say your mama, code of Eshnuna, and code of Hammurabi. These are all date back to, let's see, 2100 BC, 1900 BC, 1700 BC. It's basically a really long time ago. They were discovered in 1952, 1945, and 1901. The significance of these codes are they date to before the Ten Commandments were given to Moses. And what this shows us is that the Ten Commandments given to Moses, yeah, it was directly from God, and that's, of course, amazing, but it wasn't crazy or uncommon. You know, at that time, they had laws. People were intelligent. They weren't just barbaric. They had laws that they obeyed by. All right? The next one we're going to go to is, we're going to go to the Tel Dan Stele, which dates all the way back to 800 BC. Now, the cool thing about this is it was written by King Hazael. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And he brags about defeating Israel and the house of David. And this confirms 1 Kings, which they have it. And this was discovered in 1993. It was really cool because this actually is a newspaper clipping from around when they actually put it in the museum, because all of these can be found in a museum. All right. The next one we're going to do is the Cyrus cylinder, which dates back to 539 BC. It's details about King Cyrus, the Persian king, which everybody knows about. Everybody believes in him. Everybody knows he existed. Well, he confirms things that happened in 2nd Chronicles, the book of Isaiah, and the book of Ezra. All right, next one, King Sargon II, which everybody knows who he is too. Everybody believes in him, the king in Assyria, and we have pictures of him all over the place. He was king in 722 BC. This thing is called Sargon's prison, which it's actually, they had to write everything in stone, but it describes the fall of Israel, and it confirms, once again, the book of Isaiah, chapter 20, verse 1. So, the point from all of this stuff is that biblical events actually happened. It wasn't just the Bible that said these things happened. It happened, and it was historically recognized by nations all over the world. So, wrapping it up, pretty much, yes, the Bible's confirmed by archaeology. Yes, Jesus Christ existed for sure. There's no doubt about it. And no, the Bible has not been changed in thousands of years. So, that is my speech, just confirming the authenticity of the Bible, because it is real, it is historically accurate, and these things did happen. Thank you for listening.